Hello and welcome to the First to Third podcast. Today is June the 5th, 2022, and I am your host this evening, Scotty, and joined by my great friends, as always, Mr. Barrett Clifton and Drew Dole. I think we've got you guys in different spots today. I think, Drew, you're typically up there in the corner with me, so all good. It's a random
it feels
random
good
draw
to be
there.
up on the high tonight. You know, I feel like
you're on the
air.
I guess you're on the high end because Virginia Tech's on that high end, unlike
That's
the
right.
Virginia Cavaliers. Oh, sorry,
Oh,
Kenny.
boy.
Hate it for you, bud.
Oh, too bad he's not here to defend
Hey,
himself.
you're not here to fight
well.
battles. You get what you get.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, we might be joined by Kenny. Ryan might stop by as well, so we'll leave the door open for them. Robbie, I believe, will be out this week, dealing with some family things going on, which we certainly understand. Everybody's got little kiddos running around, so it's always up in the air when stuff like that happens. But nonetheless, we're excited to be here with you. We got some very interesting headlines to talk about in baseball this week. I would say professionally and possibly in the NCAA ranks. We were all chatting before we hopped on live, and it was there's been some interesting NCAA regional things happening this weekend, and so we might get into those as we get started. But yeah, it's some fun stuff. So, but before we get started, you guys have any thoughts, anything you want to share to kick us off, Barrick? You're riding up atop this week, so I'm going to have to call on you first. So,
Well, I guess we'll get into it with the Orioles, but I am wearing black on purpose to commemorate and memorialize the 2022 season of Grayson Rodriguez. It's very sad.
yeah.
So, rest in peace to him and his season, and we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But also, go Hokies. Like we said, playing well. Currently taking on Columbia 3-1, and we're doing good. So, yeah.
Riding high. Yeah, we'll probably dive in deeper. But, yeah, Grayson Rodriguez, definitely tough to hear with the lat strain, basically sitting him now till September. So yeah, sad to see him get shut down with what seems to be the rest of this season, but nonetheless, kind of is what it is.
Well,
so,
you don't think the Orioles are going to be playing past September?
No.
Well,
Oh,
I think
my
I think the regular season goes a little bit into September. So
Does it go to October 1?
That's right. Yeah, something like that. But
fair point.
Yeah,
fair point.
So. Drew, you got anything you want to lead us off with?
Just trying to get to the end of the school year. We got some exams started on Friday. Big shout out to our softball team. They second year in a row got to the state championship. Second year in a row, come up just a little bit short. I hate it for those girls. They do a fantastic job. We have the number one softball recruit in the country in the class of 2022. She's going to Oklahoma for the number one team in the country. So. Big shout out to them. They did a heck of a job, 27-3 on the season. So real close. I mean, really, really close to winning the state championship. Would have been the first in school history for softball. So big shout out to them. Hope wish all the seniors the best of luck because we got graduation next Sunday. So wishing everybody the best of luck. But yeah, big week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was anxiously following that, and yeah, I mean, anytime the alma mater starts getting into state championship games, especially now, football kind of becoming a state powerhouse, and softball now hitting that. Baseball, kind of always been a pretty predominant state playoff and contender into the state championship.
If only we could get a coach for baseball. I mean, golly.
Yeah, working on that. Yeah. Maybe hire some people here. Where's Rob?
Maybe an alum or something.
There you go.
Need a couple of alums to help out.
Yeah,
really.
I hear you.
Need a pitching coach right now.
Well, I know a guy, but he's a little busy right now too. So
yeah, he might be a little busy at the moment.
Too funny. Well, last week I kind of blew right past the segment that we normally will kick off the show, so I'm going to not do that this week. We will do stack bet recap to lead us off tonight from a topic standpoint. So if you're new to the podcast, just to give you a quick update as to what's happening, each week we are putting out stack bets. So we're not betting real money. So just know that if you take our betting advice, we are not putting up real money ourselves in these bets. Also,
probably going to lose.
Also, the bets that you see us hit, if you can find the odds for them somewhere, more power to you. But they're pretty random bets, so just keep that in mind as well. But it's just something for us to keep track of what's going on and have some fun. And it's a friendly little competition for us. But nonetheless, so we call our units of bets stacks, and so each week we will put up stack bets for the week. So this past week it was Drew, Robbie, and myself that were in the pool and in the running. So I will start with Rob since he's not here to kind of kick things off himself. So last week, Rob's only stack bet, he put up 75 stacks that Michael Harris II would hit his first career home run this week. Unfortunately, although Michael Harris had a pretty good week at the plate, he did not hit his first career home run. I personally think he's probably saving that to hit that into the old chop house at Truist Park this week. So who knows? Little foreshadowing there of where that bet might be. Drew, you want me to go over yours, or do you want to? Are you able to?
Yeah. Angel, I guess that week off really helped his eyes out, I guess. So he was above 90% on both of his games. Thanks, dude. Not. Yep. Paul Goldschmidt still out for still playing as of right now at 9:08 on as we're streaming this live right now. He's hit one home run out of the 7 games this week. Don't think it's going to happen in the last 2 innings, but but
they get a position player in there. You never know. So
that's true, but it's a close one right now. But the Braves, they did put up a lot of runs in Colorado this week, more than 20. So I'll take that one.
They did
13 in the first night.
How many home runs did you say Paul Goldschmidt was going to have?
He needed 3+.
3+, gotcha.
He has one.
He has uno.
Uno más.
Dos más.
He needs dos más. Yo quiero dos más home runs.
Please. Not going to happen, but.
That's about the most Spanish you're going to get out of this podcast.
That's your Spanish lesson for the week. There you
go. Well-rounded here on the First to Third podcast. So Drew is our leader. So last week he had 285 stacks and he put up 135 total. Currently he has so far hit on the one Brave stacks bet for the 20 plus runs in Colorado. That was a 25 stack bet that he put up. And so he had got 50 back on that. I'm going to say that right now that's probably all he's looking at getting. So to be determined. So that comes to me. I have so we've been doing this for 4 weeks, including last week. I have come doggone close to going bankrupt going into this week. Last week I had 75 stacks left in my balance. I put up 50. I left some in there just in case something went wrong. I would still have something to play with. But I did put up 50. So I put up 25 stacks that the Blue Jays would score 20 or more runs. They hit that. Ching, love it. Their offense has been on a tear and continued to be this week. So felt pretty good about that one. And then the old Bravos, which super stoked about this. They finished the week. They get 5 wins this week. So never going to complain about that. Keep in mind, we did record last week's podcast on Monday. So it included Monday's games through today, not Sunday's games for this. So that's what we were betting on this week. So for the first week, I'm in the win column and took home 100 stacks this week. So I will begin the betting later this evening when we get to our segment to close the show. For next week's stack bets, I got a solid 175 stacks that I'm playing with. So I've got my bets in. I have not placed my wager for how much I'm going to put on those quite yet. So I'm still mulling over if I'm wanting to carry some positive mojo in the next week, or if if I'm gonna try to build up a little stash here as we move forward. But we'll see.
Run the hot streak. Run the hot streak.
That's what I'm feeling for sure.
Go with your gut.
Barrick, let's see. You,
not
my
analytics.
Friend, because you did not put in bets last week and you could not lose any, you will not get 50 added to your pool this week. So you will start this week at 110 stacks, which is what you finished last week at. Let's see. Kenny, also, he did not get us in any last week, so he still has 90. So if he decides to join us, he can. Robbie, let's see. Robbie lost his stacks last week, and so he sits right now at 125, and then myself sitting at 175. So I forgot to mention as well, each week we will have 50 stacks added to the bank just automatically, so that in the event somebody does actually go fully bankrupt, they're not just stuck sitting out for the rest of the season. But it will that will tremendously hurt their chances to get into the leaderboard as we get to the end of the season if they keep hitting bankrupt on it. So nonetheless, that's where we sit. Drew, I believe right now you are sitting at 15 and 30. I think you're at 335, and then I think you get 50 this week. I think is how we did that. So I think you're sitting at 3.
Well, I was at 285. I dished out 135 and only 150.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe you're at 285 now, I think, maybe going into this week.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. So, all right. We'll wrap that up at the end. I won't sit here and try to do math on the stream. That would be painful for everyone involved, myself and all of the viewers and community. So
it's so fun. So much fun.
I agree. Big fan. Not so much when the camera's on. So
just a little pressure. That's all. Pressure.
That's right. So, so super excited. That's a segment, one of the few segments that we've been able to keep up with week in and week out. So we can actually officially call it a segment, which is fun. So, so here we are. All right. Well, it's the moment of truth here. Of the meat of our potatoes and meat and potatoes here of the podcast, so to speak, is our weekly check-in. We always start with the Braves and then wrap up with the Orioles talk. We are glad to have Barrick here to give the full Orioles update. Trust me, we tried to do our best last week, Barrick. I hope we did it justice. So
you did good.
But so this week, again, depending on how you look at the week and how it broke down, the Braves started Sunday, ended last week against the Marlins on Sunday with a win. And then on Monday, when we were recording the podcast, they opened up the road trip and the series against the Dodgers, the D-backs. Sorry. That's what I get for looking at too many things at one time. So opened the road. Yeah, for a pretty massive difference there. Opened the road trip in Arizona against the Diamondbacks. And so they had a 3-game series against the Diamondbacks Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before traveling to Colorado and finishing the week with a 4-game stint against Colorado. So just real quick recap of that. The Braves dropped the first 2 games of the Diamondback series 6-2 and 8-7. Not very good showings, to be honest. The offense, had a good bounce back there in the second game, putting up the 7 runs, but the Braves had the lead. The bullpen kind of gave up a few hits and a few runs there late, which was kind of tough to see and all that. And we'll go into some more specifics there. But they do salvage the last game of the series on Wednesday, 6-0, which was very promising to see them kind of close that out and kind of not just roll over. Kyle Wright with another impressive start in that one. He goes 6 innings, gives up 3 hits, does walk 5, but somehow navigated around that. It's not often you see a guy walk 5 guys and not score any runs. He had 5 Ks before turning it over to Colin McHugh and Jesse Chavez to round out that game and that 6-0 win. And that win would actually prove to be important, in my opinion, because that was the turn of the month. So Wednesday was June the 1st. And I am happy to sit here and give you foreshadowing of the Rocky series that the Braves are currently undefeated in the month of June. And that's, 5 days into the month. That's the first month we've been able to say that so far. So
you want to put any stacks on that them finishing June like that, or?
No.
I put all my stacks that they don't finish June undefeated.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. I think the house would reject that bet pretty quickly. We're not giving away the free money here. So, that obviously means that the Braves did pull off the 4-game sweep against the Colorado Rockies. They go Thursday with a 13-6 win. That game was really fun to watch. The offense was really kicking. I know Drew, with his stack bets, was really happy to get the series started with 13 runs in the very first game. But I'll say he may have started sweating because we go into the next game. And it is 0-0 after 9 innings, which I believe I heard a statistic is only the second time that's happened since like sometime in the mid 90s. So that was pretty crazy.
I believe in Coors Field history.
Yeah, it was some ridiculous stat like that. So enter what I've seen a lot of folks refer to as Manfred ball, the extra innings with the real person that starts the inning on second base, since this podcast refuses to acknowledge the ghost runner terminology there. But worked out for the Braves. They pick up their first extra inning win of the season on Friday, winning that game 3-1, followed by Saturday, the game also going to extra innings after the game being tied at 1-1 after 9 innings. That game as well. Both teams put up 1 run. They score the real person that starts the inning on second base in the 10th inning, and then go into the 11th, and the Braves are actually finally able to put across several and put the nail in the coffin on that one and take the game 6-2. And then that takes us to game 4 of that series, which was played today. The Braves take that one 8-7. Honestly, the score put that one a little closer than it was. The Braves were pretty much in control of that game most of the day. And then, unfortunately, the Will Smith experience got us in the 8th. He gave up 2 runs to make that game 8-6. And then Kenley Jansen gives up a run in the 9th, but then is able to close the door for the series sweep, as we mentioned, 8-7. So the Braves have a happy flight home. They have a off day on Monday, June the 6th, which is, as Drew said, much needed. That is several straight days of baseball in a row that the Braves just completed. So just a few things of note. The Braves finished the month of May 13-15. It just goes to show that inconsistent baseball that we continue to see for most of the month, where it was win 1 or 2, then lose 1 or 2. Just never really could seem to get on a good run. So the Braves, again, starting the week on Monday, finished the week 5-2. After the game, the road trip against the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. This week marked the first time the Braves have been able to get a winning streak past 2 games. So they currently sit riding a 5-game winning streak after the game today. And then they also, as I mentioned, were able to pick up their first extra inning win this week, which then culminated in them getting back-to-back extra inning wins, which is super nice to see. One thing I just wanted to touch on, I mentioned bullpen did not look too great in that second game of the Diamondback series, but I did go back through and just kind of take a look at how they did. And I will say I apologize. I did not include the statistics from today's game, which after the Will Smith experience and Kenley Jansen inning, it would skew these just a little bit. But before today's game, the bullpen had pitched 23 innings. They had only given up 3 earned runs and had 6 walks. So over the course of 6 games, they're it was not too bad. They did their job. That night shift, as they call, themselves, looking, back in form. They're top of the league in most relief and bullpen categories right now, which is super exciting. And this is all the while we're missing Tyler Matzik, huge lefty, lefty arm out of the bullpen, and without free agent signing Kirby Yates, who is still recovering. Was it Tommy John that he had last year, or was it just a shoulder?
Might have been Tommy John.
I think it was Tommy John, but he is due back sometime this summer, I believe, after the All-Star break. And if he comes in and has anything like the Kirby Yates of a few years ago, the Braves could have a very, very scary looking bullpen, even more so than what we have now. AJ Minter has looked out of his mind so far this year. Just, seems almost unhittable. The inconsistencies that we see from Kenley, I feel like are pretty much how Kenley, is. That cutter, if that movement is there and it's on, there's not much, that's going to kind of get in the way of that. So just overall, a pretty solid week of Braves baseball. I've said this before, I'm not proud of it, but my mood seems to definitely carry with how the Braves baseball are playing. So Monday and Tuesday, I'll be honest, I was a little down. Team didn't look great, losing 2 in a row to the Diamondbacks. I was kind of mad. It just didn't make a lot of sense. But then, Wednesday on was a lot of fun watching some baseball. So pretty sweet.
We've talked off the podcast about how much baseball doesn't make sense a lot of times. So a good example of that.
Well, the other good thing is they pick up 2 games on the Mets this week too.
Yes,
which is huge. I mean, we got a lot of favorable matchups coming up in the next week with playing Oakland. I mean, nothing against Oakland, but it's favorable for the much better than going to play the Padres. I can tell you that. Yeah, which is what the Mets have to do.
Yeah, and the Pirates come to town after the A's. So
I mean,
this is a very winnable week for sure.
They need to win 2 series, and they probably need to sweep one of the 2.
100%.
But I mean, it's an opportunity in the next week to make that go from 8 to 4, and now we're into something.
Yep.
And they're above 500 now too.
100. Yep. I was getting ready to make that point. The other thing of note this week that the Braves were able to do is yesterday they got to 500, and then today holding on to that win puts us 1 game above 500 at 28-27. Again, as Drew said, we got six home games this week against 2 teams that I never hate to say this because these guys are out there making money and that kind of stuff. But just calling the kettle what it is. These teams aren't trying to win. The Pirates and the A's are not trying to win the World Series this year. That's not to say that the players' efforts and what they're doing on the field is not reflective of that. Those guys are going out day in and day out, grinding as hard as they can. But from a front office and a support standpoint, they are not trying to gear these teams up to win baseball games. So this week, I agree with Drew. 5-1 feels like a must, and the 1 even feels weird. But the Pirates have been sneaky. I mean, they went out to Los Angeles and swept the Dodgers, which that's scary to be honest. But again, that's baseball, right? So if let's just say if the Braves can pull off a 5-1 week, that would put them 33-28. We're talking about a different team all of a sudden here. As Drew mentioned, picked up a few games on the Mets this week. I think the Mets at one point at the start of this week were up 10.5 or 11 on the Braves.
10.5.
And the Braves now sit 8.5 back of that. And other, I would say, big news in the in the NL East at least, the Phillies parting ways with Mr. Girardi. Can't say that's surprising. I'm torn how to really take on my take of this. I don't think Joe was probably the problem. I don't think what he was doing and his managing, I think, was having an effect. But it doesn't seem like he was able to fire that dugout and that team up in a way that was getting them out of the funk that the Phillies are currently in. They were losing some very tough ball games. We said at the beginning of the year when we were taking a look at that roster, defense was going to be a problem for them, and it has come back and bit them several times in several games. There was a game against the Braves 2 weeks ago, routine fly ball, right fielder, center fielder can't communicate, ball drops, Braves end up winning that game, I think in the 9th. So just one of those things where I think it's, as they mentioned, I think the GM, Dave Dombrowski, just mentioned they needed a change of voice. Now, what's fascinating is the interim guy that they put in charge is a guy that's been with Joe Girardi for a very long time. So I think his voice,
change of voice.
I think his voice is going to sound very similar to Joe. So we'll see. They are currently riding a 4-game winning streak. So something shot it. So but they're still 4 games below 500. The Marlins team, honestly, is a conundrum. When I look at that record at 22-30, that team seems way more talented than that. But again, this isn't a Marlins podcast, so we're not going to go too deep into that. But so, Drew, you have any other thoughts on the Braves week?
Well, I know we had a big discussion, about Soroka coming back while we were in the middle. I mean, we were all in the middle of a conversation about college baseball, but and then Rob hits us with randomly with the 6-man rotation, and it's a good thought, especially with Soroka kind of being been hurt, and the younger arms that we have with. I mean, I know Fried's a veteran at this point, but he's still young.
Yeah, for sure.
With Ian Anderson and Kyle Wright, and then Soroka coming back, and a young arm and Spencer Strider. I mean,
yep.
It may not be a bad thing to give those guys some extra rest, especially through the dog days when Soroka comes back. I don't know. It was a very good thought. At first, I was like, nah, no way, he's going back to the pen. But after thinking about it, I'm like, well, 6-man rotation may not be the worst thing ever. The only bad part is you have no long guy in the pen. But at the end of the day, the starting pitching's actually been really good. So
yeah, I mean, I think the Jesse Chavez pickup was probably a move that forecasted this decision to move Spencer into the starting rotation. I like Tucker Davidson a lot, but he was given the opportunity to take that 5th spot several times, and he just could not find the consistency. I think he's a good young arm. He's, got talent. I'm not sitting here saying he's done, but I think from this standpoint, Spencer Strider at times looks near unhittable. He has great stuff. I was looking at his statistics just to kind of see, and this number to me resonates a bit. He's pitched 32.2 innings this year. He has 49 strikeouts. That's sitting him down. He's only got 18 walks. He's 1-2 with a 2.76 ERA. So again, he's only started 2 games. So most of those numbers are from a relief standpoint. But I think he offers us right now, from what we've seen, much more consistency in that 5 spot than we've had. I think Rob mentioned in the chat, I don't remember the number offhand, but the Braves starters 1 through 4. We text in that group way too many, way too often. Bear with me. I'm sorry. Here it is. So the Braves, when Max Fried, Ian Anderson, Kyle Wright, and Charlie Morton are the starting pitchers, are 24-17. When anyone else starts the game, they are 2-10. So that's not great. You're not going to win many games when basically every 5th day it's been almost a guaranteed loss on that day. So definitely need them to turn that around for sure. And I think honestly right now Spencer Strider gives us that best option. And yeah, I totally agree with Rob and Drew's point. That feels like the best way to kind of protect Soroka, in the interim. My only question I guess I would have is, what does that look like for Fried, Anderson, Wright, and Morton, who may be used to pitching on those fifth days? Does that throw off anything of a routine or a rhythm for them, other than just getting that one extra day? I don't know.
I think at that point in the season, I think it would be a welcomed extra day, just to give that body just an extra day, just to recoup and be like, oh, cool, I feel fresh.
Yeah.
Versus, it's the fifth day. I may not have my best stuff today. That kind of thing, especially, late July, August, going into September, that extra day. I mean, and then at that point, you get down the stretch and you can say, all right, we're going to 5-man. Spencer, you're going to the pen.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's 100%. Go ahead, Barrett.
I was just gonna say, it's easy for me to say this, but they're professionals, right? If that little kind of thing is gonna throw you off, that would be that'd be kind of unfortunate. So I feel like they would be able to handle that pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, routines are routines.
Correct.
I definitely see where you're coming from. I think they would adjust because they are professionals in it. But some guys, they want the ball every fifth day because that's how they ramp their weeks up. And when they don't get that consistency, I've even heard guys who feel off just having a rain delay, or not a delay, but like a rain out, and so their start gets pushed back a day. Even that affects it, from a routine standpoint. So. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I guess my thing is I don't know who said it, but somebody said the key to life is adjustment. So I feel like you just gotta be able to adjust.
Feels like a John Madden quote for some reason. So
yeah, maybe.
Or a Vince Lombardi.
I hope
somebody
is.
like that. I don't want to drag us on. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Any fill-in sports coach I don't want to go too deep in here any more than we kind of have, just to give us some time on some more topics. But I did just want to note some pretty, I would say, kind of breakout weeks this week. Ronald Acuna Jr., 385 batting average this week, goes 10 for 26, hits his first homer of the week today in the series finale against the Rockies. He put up 4 RBIs. He had 3 walks and 1 stolen base. He was unfortunately caught stealing for the first time this week, which is unfortunate. Austin Reilly also, way to turn your season around. Drew, you and I were talking last week with Rob. The numbers are really good. 355 batting average. He had 11 hits, 2 doubles, a triple. Thick boy getting around the bases. We love to see that. Hey, he got around him. That's all that matters.
That's a big park.
He's sucking wind.
Scotty, we can hit triples in that park, man.
I don't know, man.
Yes, trust me, we can hit triples in that park.
Whew, this wagon's pretty heavy. It's
trust me. If we set a beverage in every bag, I promise you can get around that park real quick and fast in a hurry.
My only hesitation is I might be able to do it, but I might not be able to breathe when I'm standing on third base.
We'll give you an oxygen tank over there, man. It'd be all right.
Just be laying flat on the base. Just go.
I would literally slide just so that I could lay down. Just the announcer's like, and he's going to pull in with a stand-up. Wait, he slid?
Looks like he's taking a sip of a drink over there. What is that? That's not Gatorade.
Oh, man. He also did get to trot around the bases 3 times, hit 3 home runs, had 8 RBIs. But Drew, again, 7 strikeouts on the week. It's better than the double digits. That's basically about 1 a game. He played 7 games in the week.
That's better than average, though. And Major League Baseball right now, the emphasis for pitchers is on strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, for him to only have 7 strikeouts in a 7-game week,
yep,
that's honestly not bad. I mean, anything under 10 at this point is a good week for him. So
yeah,
we take that as we go. But I mean, that's improvement from the week before for sure.
But he put up a massive 1.186 OPS this week. He was getting it done left and right. And when you've got a guy like that sitting in your four hole in the lineup, I mean, good, and he's producing numbers like that, good things are going to happen. And as you can see, they did.
I really like the lineup they rolled out there today with Austin in a 3-hole and Matt Olson in the 4, and was it d'Arnaud in the 5, I believe.
Ozzy.
Ozzy was down the lineup today. I think Ozzy hit 7th today.
Yeah, I can't remember. One of those two. But the only problem I have with this lineup is, again, it goes into that conundrum of it has Contreras hitting and taking the DH spot. No, that was yesterday. Sorry, that they did that today. Ozuna was in that spot, I think.
Nope. Contreras hit behind d'Arnaud in the 6th slot today. Albie 7, Duvall 8, and Michael Harris hit 9th. So
Ozuna had the day off. Okay.
Yep.
Which honestly probably well deserved. He had a couple rough at bats in this road trip. He had Correct. 8 strikeouts. Led the team this week in strikeouts with 8. Which again, though, when you talk about it, the Braves are not striking out as much as they were to start the season. There's been an obvious philosophy change in terms of the approach at the plate, putting the ball in play a lot more. Dansby has been a prime example of that. He only had 6 strikeouts this week and put up another week where he hit 300, picked up 9 hits and a double. So loving that for sure.
I think they got to continue to find ways to get Contreras in the lineup. They have to.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't play a lot of outfield, and I know d'Arnaud's been great too behind the plate. So, I mean, obviously he's going to get his time in behind the plate. Yeah. But they've got to figure a way to get his bat. They got to figure out a way to get Acuna, Contreras, and Ozuna in the lineup at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that's going to be, and I don't know what Ozuna's going to do. I mean, it could be, a trade piece down the road. I don't know. But
yeah,
it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, very much. Very true. Very true.
Which, again, to your point of what you just said, the lone man out of that is Travis, d'Arnaud. I just love what he does with our pitching staff from a catching and defense, and especially from a defensive standpoint. I feel like he's one of those pitchers that commands his staff, and I love seeing that out of that position. His bat can be streaky. But he had some pop this week. He cracked a grand slam against the Rockies, I think in game 1, 2 home runs in that game. Like Barrick said, it's a good problem to have, but it is a problem. So
I think your odd man out right now watching is Adam Duvall. If you want to be honest, that's your odd man out, and Acuna's still getting healthy-ish, whatever you want to call it. Still. They're slowly bringing him back. That's the biggest problem is you're not being able to say, all right, Ronald, you're going to play right field today. Done.
Right.
Every night. Yeah. Ronald, you're going to right field. And until that happens where he's playing right field every single night, and then you can platoon the DH between Contreras, Ozuna, all that's when it's going to all start clicking, is once Acuna is able to be back in the lineup every single night, or 6 out of 7 nights, whatever it may be.
Yeah, for sure. Sweet. Any other closing thoughts on the old Bravos? When you put up 5 wins in a week, we got to talk good things about them. I shouldn't skip over it because we did it last week and I feel terrible. But also last week, by the time we had recorded the podcast, he had only played 2 games. But we are all obviously very excited for the call up of Michael Harris II.
Yes.
He is a talent beyond belief. His center field defense is phenomenal. That was something that was really fun to watch today with Acuna and right, and him in center, and even Duvall as an extra bet as a level up defender over Ozuna. It was a good outfield mix today that I really liked to see. But he is a phenomenal player. He's currently riding a 5-game hitting streak, which first week in the league, if you're already riding a multi-game hitting streak, more props to you. This week he hit 286. He picked up 8 total hits, went 8 for 28. He's got 3 doubles and 3 RBIs. So he also had 6 strikeouts. He sometimes just looks over antsy at the plate. He tries to do a little too much, which will come. I think that's just he needs to see some more pitches. He needs some more big league at bats. But I love the move. He looks ready. He's roaming center field. It reminds me a lot of the days of Andrew Jones out there, where a ball goes up and you just know it's going to get caught. So that's the feeling right now. From a defensive standpoint, that's just what it feels like to me. So, all right. Sorry, Barrick. Don't want to cut in too much time. So here we are. Right. Orioles talk.
All my groupies, their favorite
That's
time
right.
of the podcast for sure.
That's right.
It was a tough week for the Orioles. They did take the series from the Red Sox kind of at the end of last week, which was obviously nice, but lost the series to Seattle and Cleveland. So those are both two series that I feel like they should win or at least need to. So that was kind of a bummer. So from the win-loss column, not exactly the best week in the world, but I think player-wise, you're still seeing development, which is good. I think they're most of their talent is still playing well and still moving in the right direction. Jorge Mateo, I think, is making himself a lot of money. I think he's going to be dealt at the trade deadline, and somebody's going to pick up somebody that's been playing really good defense the last week or so. So I think he's really stepping up and like I said, probably going to make him some money at the trade deadline. Austin Hayes.
We got to see a lot of Jorge Mateo when he was with Oakland. When he played with Ryan, when he played with Ryan in Las Vegas, and Duke could play, man. He was log jammed in Oakland with all those studs that were playing in the middle infield at that point in time. So him being able to get to Baltimore and get out there and actually play, man, he's been really good.
Yeah, I think it was a great move for him because he's obviously had the chance to play every day pretty much and showcase what he can do, and he's doing it. I mean, like I said, defensively he's been playing great. So yeah, I think unfortunately for the Orioles, I think he'll probably won't finish a year with them, but excited for him because he deserves it. Like I said, Austin Hayes is really, really coming on. He had an injury to his hand, and he had to learn how to hit with a glove on. He was never hitting with gloves, and had to learn how to hit with a glove, and he's figured it out because he's been smashing the ball this week. So like I said, hopefully that development turns into some more wins. We got the Cubbies starting on Tuesday, so that'll start off the week, and I think the Royals after that. So two again two series that it might be a little testing, but got chances at it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I think you're on mute, Scotty.
My fault. I was I was opening a drink and didn't want everybody to hear it. So yeah, that's right. So you're telling me this week the Baltimore Orioles do not have to play the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox?
I'm telling you, it's going to be weird. They're they have a timeshare in New York and Boston, and I guess they'll be able to Airbnb it out to somebody and let them use it for a little bit. But yeah, they're going to be. I think the Cubs are at home, and then they go out to Kansas City. So, so yeah, we'll see some new scenery, which will be nice. Maybe that'll get them back in the win column here.
Oh, they get to visit our friend Mr. Zumwalt while they're out there too.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I try to check into the Orioles games whenever I get a moment. I don't follow them as closely as Barrick does. But looking at some of the stats this week, some of your old reliables came through. It looks like with some big weeks. Trey Mancini had a 346 average this week with 9 hits, put up 2 homers with 6 RBIs. He also himself legged a triple. Did he hit it into that 400-foot left field concave they've got out there?
Yep, and it bounced around. So yeah.
And then Ryan Mountcastle, have yourself a week. 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 7 total hits for a 292, and only had 2 strikeouts. If you're going to put up power numbers and only strike out twice, that's pretty legit.
So yeah, the name of the game for them, they're obviously putting up statistics. The name of the game for them is going to now be consistency. Just keep doing it. Especially Ryan Mountcastle. He's been really peaks and valleys. When he's up, he's hard to miss. He looks like the best guy on the field. But then he has times where you're like, is he hurt? Is he is he playing? So they just need to stay consistent. And then, like I said, if they get consistency, and then you get some of the other guys like Cedric Mullins has been, starting to come on a little bit. Him and again Hayes and if we can get Adley, hitting at the plate, then I think things will look really nice. So it's just, I was trying to put all the pieces. They're moving in the right direction. I know, Orioles fans are obviously getting really, including myself, getting really antsy because it's just been so many losing seasons now. But they really are moving in the right direction. It's just a matter of, is everybody going to have enough patience to see it through? But it's slowly moving in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I think Adley getting going is going to be key. It's just he's there. It's going to take a little bit more. He'll be all right.
Yeah,
and I'll be remiss if we don't mention again Grayson Rodriguez. Just too bad that got that lat strain. Looks like we were talking before the podcast started that the fact that he's going to be out till September is clearly a sign that they're just going to take it really slow with him, because like a lat strain, from a medical standpoint, maybe a couple weeks you're out, and then you should be back feeling better after a little bit of rest. But if they're basically shutting him down for the year, says they clearly don't want to risk it, and I get it, but it's too bad, because I think his chances of seeing Camden Yards this year basically just went away. So that's unfortunate. But, again, the name of the game for the Orioles is a long game. So they're going to take it easy with him. But that is why I'm wearing black today. So we're sad and mourning in Birdland.
Do you know if was it a right or a left lat strain?
I think it was right.
So I guess that's going to affect him really getting the extension, on that follow through. That's probably what they're worried about. So.
Yeah, and I mean, again, when he's like basically their number 2 prospect in the whole system, I feel like, any ache or pain, they're going to just be like, oh, let's back it down, and take it easy. And I mean, I get it, but it's just too bad, because I was looking forward to seeing him in the big leagues. Yeah, we'll see if. I guess next is DL Hall to see if he makes the
He'll be there soon.
So that'll be he's the next one we'll keep our eye on. So
very soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, for what it's worth, Austin Hayes is becoming one of my favorite young guys to watch. I just like the way he plays the game. His defense is solid. Really enjoy him a lot. So I hope they keep him as part of the rebuild for things going forward. And that's not somebody they give up on a prospect package or something like that. Because I enjoy watching him play.
They like him. Him and Cedric Mullins, I think, are going to be there for the long haul. I would imagine. But he's just fun. He has a lot of fun. He's always smiling, just having a good time. They got the Orioles got their own home run chain now, which I don't know how I feel about, but they're having fun with it. So let's go with it.
That's right. Hey, make baseball fun again. It's for all ages.
Despite what Manfred's trying to do,
Manfred hates
trying to have fun. Yeah, we will keep pushing for fun.
That's right. Good stuff. Well, thank you, Barrick, for the Orioles talk. Again, we have some close ties to the Orioles. Obviously, Barrick pulls for them. Robbie and I worked for the Oriole legend Cal Ripken. Spent a good while up in Baltimore doing some things with them. So always when the Orioles are good, this podcast is happy as well. So we definitely look for that. So let's switch gears just a little bit. So May did end. The timing for our podcast and our recording was a bit odd, just because we recorded the last one on the 30th of May, last Monday. So it didn't feel like a right time to kind of look at kind of May as a month and all that to let it finish. So we'll touch on a couple things, and then we're going to kind of just throw out a few little like picks and if the season ended today type awards for some folks. Guest appearance, love it.
Let's go O's. Let's go O's.
Love it. So let's just take a quick look. I'm gonna run through these a little quick, and then I'll ship it over to Barrick and then Drew. And so we're gonna go through the standings real quick. It'll be again as of today because it just feels odd to exclude the games that have happened this week. But just give me real quick when I throw these kind of standings out for the American League, one team that you are surprised by, and then one team that you're disappointed in as we go through here. So just a quick run through. AL East, Yankees actually have the best record in baseball, 39-15, followed by Toronto, Tampa Bay, Boston, and Baltimore. Toronto is the closest team in second place in that division, 7.5 games back. Pretty crazy, 31-22. Tampa Bay, 31-23, 8 games back. AL Central, the Minnesota Twins leading that division, 32-24. The Cleveland Guardians are 4.5 games back with a 24-25 record. The Chicago White Sox, 25-27, are 5 games back. Detroit, 10 games back, 21-33. Kansas City, 17-35. Looks like they are possibly out of the running so far in that division. AL West.
They have less wins than the Orioles.
There you go. AL West, the Houston Astros, 35-19, 8.5 games ahead of the Los Angeles Angels, 27-28. Worth note of the Los Angeles Angels are currently on an 11-game losing streak. Ouch.
Wow.
Yeah. Texas Rangers, 25-28. They are 9.5 games back. Seattle Mariners, 24-30, 11 games back. And Oakland rounds out that division, 20-36, 16 games out of first. So again, Barrick, real quick, who is kind of a surprise or a disappointment for you in the AL so far this season?
I guess surprise. I mean, I don't know if there's really a big surprise necessarily, but if I had to pick a surprise, I might go with Texas. You know, I think they have a chance to do something. They've actually been playing halfway decent, except for losing in extras today. But I would say a little surprised that they're still in the running. I'm personally disappointed in Boston. I don't know,
Yep.
I might be in the minority, but I just think, being fourth in the AL, I think, or in the AL East, I expected a lot more from them. I think you usually do, right? Because they just, they're just one of those teams you just kind of always expect is going to figure it out and play well. But yeah, I think they've been a little disappointing from an AL side. But those would be my two.
Yeah. Okay. Drew, how about you? What do you see?
Most impressive, honestly, I would have to say. I mean, obviously the Yankees with the best record in baseball. I mean, that's impressive in general.
Yeah.
Houston.
Yep.
Very quietly just doing their thing in the West, and I think I just looked out of all 6 of us that picked AL West, I think Ryan and Barrick were the only ones that picked Houston. So I think a lot of us thought Los Angeles, and going on the Angels here, by the way, Mike Trout was 0 for a lot. So
a lot.
I mean, it is what it is. Most disappointing.
See, before you hit disappointing, Drew, the only reason I didn't say Houston was because, I don't know. At the beginning of the year, I was looking at that division. It's just like, well, who else is gonna win it? Like, I mean, the Angels haven't proven anything yet. Like they have all the talent in the world, but they haven't done anything with it. So, I just kind of looked at it like, you just kind of expect Houston at this point just to kind of figure out a way to win that. But anyway.
And they've been quiet about it too. They've been very, very quiet. You haven't heard a whole lot.
You mean they haven't been banging the cans?
No. Well, and losing Correa and some other guys there, they don't have as much as the firepower or banging power, I guess you would say. But it's just been I just looked and I was like, oh wow, they've actually done really well. Hadn't heard much, but
that pitching staff sneakily good as a staff this year.
Yes. But the disappointing one's the White Sox.
Yeah.
Very, very disappointing. I mean, I just don't know what's I think the starting staff struggled a little bit. I know the bullpen was supposed to be their, cream of the crop, and
Yeah.
hadn't been there. And I mean, I guess you could also say Minnesota's been surprisingly good this year too, but I don't think Chicago scored, enough runs. I mean, I'm looking at their differential; they're minus 56. I mean, that's a lot of runs that they're giving up and not scoring a whole lot. So,
Yep.
I don't know what's going on there, but that's a big disappointment for me because I think we all but everybody but one picked
Kenny picked the
everybody
Twins.
but Kenny.
Yeah.
Kenny picked the Twins. Good pick on him so far. But
Yeah.
everybody else picked the White Sox. So I mean, that's a huge disappointment
for sure. Yeah, my two teams eerily similar, Drew. I would say the Yankees surprised me. I didn't pick them to win that division. I picked the Rays to win that division.
No one did.
So I knew that I knew they were going to be good based on the talent and the pieces that they have because it's the Yankees. I did not expect them to be best record in baseball good. So that to me, it's an easy one to circle as a surprise because there's the best team in baseball. But I don't feel like they were being talked about as the best team in baseball going into the season. And to your point, looking at the same run differential, they're plus 102. They have scored 258 runs, which is leaps and bounds the most in the American League, outside of, surprisingly, the Angels, who have 247. Actually, I take that back. The Red Sox have actually scored the most runs at 262. So that's surprising, but not my surprising team there.
But to go back with your Yankees too, I mean, when's the last time that they had a starter that didn't go 7 innings?
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, that's when you have starting pitching, especially in this day and age of the game, that's going 7, 6, 7 innings. Oh, your bullpen's very fresh. And I mean, they have 3, 4 really good bullpen arms that, hey, oh, by the way, we're just hanging out down here, and here you go.
Yep. It matters. My biggest disappointment is a tie between Drew mentioned the Chicago White Sox. I expected them to be leading that division by a pretty good clip right now, but I'll throw out this team as well. I picked them winning the AL West, and maybe it was just me being a little too optimistic, but the Seattle Mariners being 6 games below 500, I felt like they made some very good acquisitions in the offseason this year, and they just felt like a team that was ready to take that next step in a division that that's the most diverse pick that we had, was the AL West in terms of who was going to win that division. It literally felt like a toss up. And so I'm a little disappointed with the Mariners. They just haven't been able to get it going. So that's the AL roundup there. So real quick, we'll run through the NL. We'll throw out some stuff there. So we will kick it off in the National League East. New York Mets lead the division 37-19. They are 8.5 games ahead of the Atlanta Braves, as we've mentioned, who are now 28-27. Feels so good saying that with a winning record. Followed by the Phillies, the Marlins, and the Nationals. The National League Central is a 2-team race, as we all figured. Milwaukee leads that division currently 33-23, and they are 1 game ahead of St. Louis, who is 31-23. This could potentially be a shocker for most. The Pittsburgh Pirates, third in that division, 24-28. Chicago Cubs, 23-31, and the Reds round them out 18-35. I believe there should be something in there that says they are now mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but who knows? National League West.
They have more wins than Kansas City. Pump your brakes over there.
Oh, that's true. I didn't see that, but they were bad for a long time. They actually had a very good May, which is surprising. So I should probably look more into that. So the NL West, the Dodgers lead that division 35-19. They are 2 games ahead of San Diego, who is 33-21. And the San Francisco Giants pulling up the 3rd spot in that division at 29-24, sit 5.5 games back. The Arizona Diamondbacks 26-29, and that division rounds out with the Colorado Rockies 23-31. I'll mix it up this time. I'll switch over to you, Drew. Who is a surprise and a disappointment for you in the National League?
Surprise. I mean, I'll be honest, man. It's the Mets.
Yep.
I thought they were going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I didn't realize how much Buck Showalter was going to make a difference in that clubhouse.
Yep.
I think Max Scherzer's has made a big difference in that clubhouse. They have had some injuries that they've had to deal with, and they've moved some guys up and down that just haven't performed, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
But I think that's a surprising club. Pete Alonso's doing his thing. Mark Canha's getting on base, which is huge for them.
Yep.
I think getting rid of Robinson Cano was big. Addition with subtraction.
Hey Scotty, who did anybody pick the Mets to win the NL East?
No.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah. One person did.
Oh, okay, just one person. Okay.
I think it had something to do with the orange Virginia Tech color or something.
It was the orange. That's it. Yeah.
That guy right there. Yeah, you're welcome, Bear. They're the surprise right now. Not to you, but to me.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Man, you got a slew of teams to pick from in the National League. I mean, it's not been very good.
No,
I don't know, man. Cincinnati's been disappointing just in general, but Cincinnati, Colorado. I mean, with signing Chris Bryant, you think you're going to get a little bit better product on the field, not a last place. And I mean, I know at one point the National League West, everybody was above 500, so
which is crazy.
Yeah, I know it's possible, but I mean, I still think Cincinnati, man, they're just saying, hey, we're trying to get the first pick next year. Cool.
Yeah.
That doesn't help your fans. That doesn't help anything in your fan base. So,
nope.
Cincinnati for sure.
Very good. Very good. Barrick, what about yourself?
I'll keep it quick because I know we're running up on the hour. Yeah. My surprise is actually Pittsburgh. I didn't think they would win more than 4 games this year. So I'm actually kind of surprised by them. My disappointment for me, it's San Francisco. I think I picked them to win that division, or if I didn't, I expected them to do really well. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in them. I feel like every time I check the scoreboard, they're losing. I don't get it. So
yeah. I don't sway much from that. I mean, there's not really a surprise to me. If I had to go one, I would say the Mets. I would not have picked them to have one of the best records in the National League. I would have said the Dodgers would have probably held that going in this far into the season. So I think I'm
the best record.
Yeah.
The best record in the National League.
So I am surprised that they're this good, especially the injuries that they've sustained, not having Jacob deGrom for a month now and Max Scherzer been out for 2 weeks. The fact that they've been able to sustain this has been a surprise. And like Drew said, I think the Buck Showalter effect went a little deeper.
Never underestimate the Buck.
Who does he used to manage?
Trash team.
Disappointment. I would honestly to me, it would be a toss up between the Braves and the Giants. We've talked at length about the Braves, so I don't want to go too deep into them, but I was hoping they would be. I didn't think this far into the season we'd be talking about them just cracking 500. So that's a bit of a disappointment. And I'm right there with Barrick on the Giants. I would have thought that the way they played last year. Now, granted, they did, lose Chris Bryant technically, Buster Posey. So, I mean, they are going through that, but I still expected them to be competing. That's tough to go from winning 100 games to, you're on pace to kind of barely break 90 at this point. So, we'll see what happens. But those would kind of be my 2 teams on that.
A lot to be said about veteran leadership in the clubhouse.
Absolutely. Interesting fact about Robinson Cano, the San Diego Padres have also now DFA'd him and are moving. So that did not last long. So I will be interested to see if another team picks him up. There is not much need for his skill set right now,
services.
I would say.
Yeah.
So very good. That's a quick roundup of May, where we stand, where we sit. Let's see. I still do want to go through the awards. We can go through them kind of quick. We'll save a few of our things for next week as well. But just real quick, if you've got them, we're basically almost exactly a third of the way through the MLB season so far. So we kind of thought it would be a good idea. Again, as we mentioned, if the season ended today, who would some of our award winners be. We focused on the big ones. So we've got MVP and Cy Young. So either one of you itching to throw those picks out. Oh, Drew was quick on the gun there. So I'll let him hit leadoff here.
Well, you want both AL and NL?
Yeah, go ahead.
AL, I'm going to go from the same team for both.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Aaron Judge.
Okay.
Just 21 home runs and 42 RBIs and hitting over 300. I mean, yeah,
no biggie.
Whatever. And Mr. Nelson Cortez.
The
Dealing.
stash king. Yep.
Dealing. NL. Mr. Paul Goldschmidt has been red hot. And NL Cy Young, Joe Musgrove.
Very good.
Been undefeated. Good. Dude's been dealing. So
love it.
There's my four.
Barrick, you wanna head next?
I don't know.
Do you have anything different?
Well, I mean, definitely different. Like I'm kind of holding out hope that Vlad Guerrero Jr. could win AL MVP. If Toronto pulls it around and they can find a way to compete with the Yankees, I think he would be a big reason. So I think I don't know if that would be a prediction, but somebody I'm just kind of holding out hope for. Otherwise, I think Drew's got it pretty much on point.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not going to labor into this too much. Drew, I had Aaron Judge and Nestor Cortez as my MVP and Cy Young in the AL as well. As you mentioned, Aaron Judge, 313 batting average, 21 home runs, 9 doubles, 44 runs. He's got 42 RBIs, and he's got a solid 1.059 OPS. I will just throw this out here. This snuck up on me, and I don't think he would win it based on the play of his team, even though they are only 4.5 games back out of the division. I did not realize the type of year that Jose Ramirez was having for the Cleveland Guardians. He is batting .291 with 14 home runs. He has 12 doubles, 4 triples. He scored 33 runs. He has 53 RBIs, has a 1.025 OPS. Here's where I think he might slightly take it over Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge has 58 strikeouts this season so far. Jose Ramirez has 15. 15.
What's Judge's OPS?
1.059. So it's a tick higher.
But
they
don't care about strikeouts.
Jose Ramirez also has 30 walks to Aaron Judge's 24. So that, again, when they are very close, and to me, the discrepancy of strikeouts, 58 to 15 is wild. That's big.
Yeah.
I still would have to give it to Aaron Judge because he's on the team that is the best record in baseball. So to me, that kind of, it shouldn't go hand in hand, but it most of the time does. Nestor Cortez, as you mentioned, 5-1 with a 1.50 ERA, 60 innings. He's given up 10 earned runs. He has a .87 WHIP and a .178 average against. Pretty phenomenal. Let's see. I agreed with you on Paul Goldschmidt for the National League MVP. I did differ with you on the NL Cy Young. I went with Mr. Sandy Alcantara. Just mainly because we've seen him a lot. So
he's been good every single time.
So I did compare the stats, and I just gave it to him just because I think he just ticked it a little bit better. He's got a 6-2 record this year with a 1.81 ERA. He's pitched 74.2 innings. He's given up 15 earned runs. Where I gave him the tick is he has 71 strikeouts, and I don't remember offhand, but that's a pretty good more amount than Joe Musgrove had. He has a .98 WHIP and a .191 average against. So, again, it's obviously early. We're a third of the way through. I think any of these guys could, and that's why we pretty much had the same list. It'll be interesting to see if this changes as we go forward. You know, who develops into a candidate and who maybe falls out from this group. But there's been some. I would say my takeaway from this: there's been some solid baseball played by some guys so far this season, and it's exciting for the game of baseball. So,
very true.
All right. I didn't really have any other major headline MLB news. Is there anything that you guys had that you were dying to discuss? of any kind?
We can maybe next week we can talk about college baseball a little bit, but no, I think we've hit a lot.
Yeah, there's a couple college baseball topics I'd love to get into, but not right at this point in time with the time constraint we're on right now.
Yeah, for sure. Just to tease it up next week, there was a situation that happened in the Dodgers-Mets game last night. Dave Roberts tried to put in a position player to pitch. I did not realize this was a rule until reading about this.
I didn't either.
The team has to be up more than 6 runs for you to put in a position player as a pitcher. The umpires stopped the position player from being put into the game, but then allowed the Dodgers relief pitcher a full warm-up in the bullpen before coming out. Buck Showalter was obviously pretty peeved by this. I honestly was on the fence just a little bit. I totally see where Buck Showalter's coming from. As a manager, he made a mistake, and he should have some penalty for that mistake happening. But I think in the eyes of player safety, there is no way that in my right mind I justify sending a relief pitcher out there. They didn't have anybody in the pen warming up. So this wasn't a situation where the guy just needed a couple pitches. There was literally nobody up. So I also couldn't justify in my brain putting in a relief pitcher completely cold and expecting him to go out and perform. So I don't know what the answer is in that situation. I don't know if either one of you guys have any thoughts, on that real quick. But
kind of goes.
I think we can save it for next week. But I think there'll be some really good discussion because it's an interesting topic. There's, A, it's a very little known rule, and B, I think we'll have some differing opinions on it. So I think it could be kind of fun.
Yeah,
I'm finally glad some umpires had some common sense for some player safety.
Absolutely.
Because they're typically rule by rule, and who cares?
Yeah.
When you start messing with paychecks and livelihoods, might want to check that a little bit. And I'm sure one of those umpires, whoever behind the plate, didn't want to wear one either. So,
facts. We'll tee that up. Maybe Ryan can join us next week. I'd love to get his thoughts as a relief pitcher coming out of the bullpen. And if he can't join us, maybe we'll at least try to get some pre-thoughts from him to be able to share with everyone. Again, I'd love to be able to get into the college baseball because obviously the regionals will be over and super regionals will start next week. The one thing I would say is we talked about it pre-podcast. Runs are aplenty in college baseball, which, hey, it does make for some entertaining games. But I will say it's not very entertaining when only one team is scoring all the runs. Well,
it also doesn't exactly make for a quick game.
No.
Hey, just a couple
5-hour games.
Yeah, same thing. Big 12 hasn't changed. Football, baseball, defense optional. Pitching, optional. See how many runs you can score, boys. Good luck.
That's right. Yep.
I think I saw them using a tee the other day.
If I can go back and just say one thing, I am so happy for the Braves to be back on the East Coast. These games that ended after 1:00 this week absolutely killed me in my schedule and my sleep schedule this week. I have been a walking zombie, it felt like, for most of this week. So
now you know how I feel during the baseball season.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we'll save some of that for next week. Real quick, so we can get to the stack bets and close out this episode. Players of the week. This was a little more difficult this week for me, in my opinion. Since I won stack bets last week, that has been the prize so far of who gets to go first in terms of their player of the week picks. So I'll share mine with you. If any of you have any differing opinions, you can feel free to throw those in there. My position player / hitter of the week this week, Yordan Alvarez, put up a .565 average this week, going 13 for 23. He scored 8 runs, had 1 double, 1 triple, 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, and absolute eye-opening 1.847 OPS. And by the way, signed a 6-year, $115 million contract extension. Sign me up for player / hitter position player of the week. My pitcher of the week, Framber Valdez, Houston Astros, went 2-0, pitched one complete game, 15 innings on the week, had 6 hits, gave up 3 earned runs, had 6 walks, 12 Ks with a .80 WHIP. You're gonna put your team in a lot of contention for some baseball games, throwing up numbers like that. So those are my 2 position players of the week. You guys have any differences?
I said when we started this, I was going to keep mine Orioles base, so I'm going back to Jorge Mateo. He's my player of the week. I think if he keeps going, I'm going to be super excited. Or my other option would be every single positional player on Virginia Tech's baseball team, because pretty much each one of them has at least 14 home runs on the season, 14 plus. So those would be my 2.
Fair enough.
Scotty, I had the same pitcher, 100%. My player of the week, Mr. Wilson Contreras for the Chicago Cubs. 10 for 27 with the 370 batting average, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, and a 1.263 OPS. So that was my and catching. So I mean, you got to catch and manhandle the staff too. So
yep,
I did like your pick too. But
love it. So that rounds out this week's player or players of the week. Good job, guys. We've been pretty solid on those picks this year so far, so we'll see if that trend continues going forward. All right. So as we always do to close this out, it is stack bet time. So I think it's only fitting, Drew, since you basically own the bank.
I'm updating mine as we go, but yes, go ahead.
I'll let you lead off since you're winning with the overall coin. So
yeah, I got 3 this week. 3 again. No, the genius that messed me up last week, Mr. Angel Hernandez, is not a part of this week's. Jeez, so angry at him right now, but it's okay. As is half of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
My first one, 50 stacks. Mackenzie Gore goes 6+ innings and 6+ Ks.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
I'm going to take the Whiteville, North Carolina native, good buddy of mine, college friend of mine. His brother-in-law. So running on that Mackenzie Gore streak.
Love it.
I'm going to go 25 stacks and going to take Whit Merrifield to hit 260 or higher this week. Sorry, Barrick, they're playing the Orioles. And I like what Zumwalt's doing. He's done really good with Whit. Whit was hitting below 200. He's now hitting almost 225. So
love it.
I like where it's going. And then my last one's, I believe, 25 on the Braves to win 4+ games this week.
Love it.
So 100 total stacks this week.
Hot and heavy. All right. So I guess if we're going to keep in that order, I will go next. I've got 3 stack bet this week. I have locked in my numeric number. I'm putting up 50 stacks that Austin Reilly hits 4 or more home runs this week. I just like the way he's been swinging it. He's been hitting the baseball a long way. I think he's going to enjoy a nice return home. And again, playing the Athletics and the Pirates at home, I think bodes well for some offensive statistics. I'm also putting up 25 stacks that Michael Harris, the second, has 6 or more hits this week, and then 25 stacks. I agree with Drew. I'm going a little bit higher though. 25 stacks for the Braves to win 5 or more games this week, because mainly I just think they have to. I think they have to do it, and so that's what I'm riding with. So I've got 175. I'm putting up 100 of them. So hoping for a big week, hoping to gain some ground on that lead that Drew is putting up there. So we'll see what happens. All right, Barrick, bring us home with the stack.
I'm just going with one. I'm going to go 50 stickoonies on I want Austin Hayes 3 or more home runs this week. I think he's going to keep that train rolling. So I got to play it a little little conservative since apparently I'm running thin on this. So that's what we're doing.
Love it. Sounds good. Well, this is to me, this makes the week exciting, gives us something to invest and look into. So this will be fantastic for us to go into next week with. All right. It's last word time. So Barrick, Drew, either one of you want to lead off? Any closing thoughts, closing things you'd like to say for this week?
The Virginia Tech Hokies just punched their ticket to the Super Regional. That's what I would like to say. That's going to be my closing thought.
Love it.
You're
UVA
one step closer to taking some of Kenny's money.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's not
UVA
on here today.
So
He's not on here.
We're feeling good. We're feeling good. That's my closing thought.
Love it.
My closing thought this week is congratulations to the class of 2022, all the seniors graduating from college that are getting either their master's, doctorate, bachelor's, or high school diplomas, associate degrees, whatever. Congratulations to you guys, class of 2022. We graduate next Sunday, so we're finishing this week strong, and just best of luck to all of the graduates of the class of 2022.
Fantastic. I love it. I echo all those thoughts. I'm super pumped about baseball right now. College baseball is the best time of the year. Summer baseball, just in general, man, it just hits different. So I love this time of year. I'm excited to see these teams start turning it around and seeing what's happening. So totally agree. Well, everyone, we appreciate you joining in as always and spending some time with us. As we kind of wrap up here, I'll just throw out a couple of reminders. If you have any questions, comments, or anything you'd like to submit to the show, just remember you can email us at first23rdpod@gmail.com. That's the word first, the number 2, the word third pod@gmail.com. Also, down in the description below, be sure to follow us over on Twitter and on Instagram. We have began live tweeting most of the Braves games and getting involved with the baseball community over there. So definitely give us a shout and give us a look over there. We appreciate any of your support. And as always, help the YouTube statistics and algorithms by liking and sharing this video. We'd also love for you to subscribe to the channel as well so you don't miss any of our upcoming content. So for Barrick, for Drew, we miss Robbie, Kenny, and Ryan. We hope all of you have a fantastic week, and we look forward to catching up with you and enjoying some baseball. Peace.